All right. Was just excited to be here this morning. 10:29 of 25, getting closer and closer to Christmas. Folks, if you're not taking that to your advantage of talking to your teammates and stuff about where we are in the holidays and anybody in this company, I made my first 3,000 in 6 hours. So anybody can change their Christmas or change their end of the year goals in a matter of 1 week here with Texit Coin. I'm going to show you how I did some of that and then how I continued to progress with that today. This morning will be mostly on, will be mostly.
Thomas, you're muted. I accidentally hit the mute trying to let someone in. Sorry.
Okay, okay. Gotcha. Okay, so there we go. And maybe I needed to be muted. I don't know. So it might have been divine timing, Candace. All right, so want to go over a bunch of that stuff, but also I want to remind everybody when we're talking each day on things that we ran into the day before that maybe we learned by that we give to other people. We want to be positively reinforcing that. So one of the first things that I want to say is some people are getting struggles in their growth with cryptocurrency and not taking them as learning experiences and also spreading them throughout their own room. In other words, you don't need to, because you hit a snafu, you have to remember that you're supposed to always throw up and you're never supposed to throw down when you're talking about problems that you're having or issues that you're having. It's very, very important. Somebody else might not be having the situation that you're in, and you want to be cognizant of being a wise leader in that fashion. Okay, we are seeing some things happening. And then I also want, some of you will be the issues that I talk about on here, or that Corey talks about on here, or that Sarah talks about on here, or that, any of the leaders talk about on here. And we want to be cognizant that we're trying to help the community in doing that. So kind of seems like I just went one way and came back the other way. Well, there might be a lot of that today because there's nothing that I'm saying today that is a line in the sand. And your business is unique to my business, is unique to Karen's business, is unique to Bill's business, is unique to George's business, is unique to Debbie's business. Okay. And so we're going to talk about all that today. I want to say congrats to everybody that's trying, everybody that's giving it efforts, everybody that's pushing forward. I watched some frustrations, watched some victories, all in one day with Coinbase. One person just joined Coinbase, got the deal to send through immediately after following instructions, right through the site to putting her person in, and no flaws at all. She got her ID confirmed, got all the two factors and the things that they're comfortable. See, the more of these things on the profile page that you do, the more comfort that those companies have with dealing with you. Which brings me to the next subject. So then we also had Coinbase holding people up for 7 days, okay? All in the same couple of hours of time, okay? One person got this results, one person got these results. So what I'm calling that is finicky. And thank you guys for doing all the letting in here. I'm calling that finicky platforms. You don't know exactly how it's going to perform for you, but we're going to continue to give you optimal ways to have it perform better. And you should be trying to play around on multiple sites, not just one site, multiple sites. Okay. Cash App was taught on yesterday. You can go back through all of the trainings, just scroll up on the WhatsApp page, and you will get at least 5 sites that you can be playing on. Okay. So I yesterday bought crypto on No, I didn't buy on PayPal, but I'm going to be buying on PayPal today. I bought on crypto.com. I bought on Exodus. I wired into crypto.com. I help people with Coinbase, all of these different platforms to try to accumulate what I need for the day. Which brings me to a really, really important topic. As we're giving this efforts, as we're trying to buy crypto, as we're trying to supply your needs for how you want to build your business, please don't overpromise to your people and under deliver. Please don't. If people are getting into this business and they want to build this business, the truth is they need to figure out how to buy crypto, not pass it all the burden onto somebody else. Because what's going to happen there? Just like I took on all of the burden for a while with peer payments. And guys, one of my biggest mistakes in this business, although we built one of the biggest teams in this business because of that mistake. So it's okay for a long-term mistake to have some upfront real goals, okay? But what I'm seeing happening as you guys are trying to do this is many are getting money sent to them by new people that they want to put in, and you're doing all of the crypto buying. You're doing all of the risk taking. You're doing all of the fee paying, okay? Which is fine because when you use crypto, you get 5%, okay? But whoever's crypto is being used, they get the 5%. Okay, so if you send me somebody and I'm using my crypto to help you out, that 5% belongs to me. You don't get the discounted price because I'm using crypto. I get the discounted price because I'm using crypto. And that goes for every single person on here. And people wonder why, they ask me, can you sell me 2,000 in USDC? I can, but I've already accumulated the fees for buying it. So we're kind of going backwards there. Okay. So instead I'll do like a peer payment and you'll get me your person's information and I will keep that 5% to cover my fees instead of selling it to you, sending it, causing a little bit more fees, da 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 da. That's just how I'm working this. Any leader can work it how they want, but if you're not working this and duplicating what I just said, somebody's getting hurt. Somebody's getting financially hit incorrectly along the way. If you're giving the 5% discount to your people, that is a wrong move. It's whoever owns the crypto that gets the 5%. And why? Because it will snowball and then there'll be a resentment later. And we're trying to avoid all of that, right? Okay. Secondly is fees are a cost of doing business. And I have a bunch of notes going on here on two different sections, on the crypto section and then on the placement section. So we're going to get to that in just a second. But yesterday, what I saw was a bunch of people trying to buy crypto with other people's money, okay, which is fine. But if you're giving them the expectation, that you can for sure purchase that crypto and send their deal in, if you're giving that expectation out to your people, then you better know that you're ready to do that, okay? Because what we've seen so far is new people on new platforms getting caught up on 7-day holds, 10-day holds, and then they need bailed out of that situation because they already took the person's money and didn't help that person to buy the crypto. Did you just hear what I said? Didn't help that person to buy the crypto and are saying that they would do it. Now we got to go back to that person and say, hey, I can't get you in for 7 days unless a leader bails you out, which is fine. But kind of goes backwards against what we've been teaching these last 3 weeks and trying to get everybody crypto independent. But if somebody's getting into the crypto game and you're promising to take care of their funds and that you'll buy the crypto, they just send you the people and you're going to take care of it all, then you better be ready to be doing that. You better have your platform set up to be doing that. And I'm not trying to step on toes, But if I am stepping on toes, it's because your toes are exposed and you're not moving fast enough. Okay? Meaning you're not set up enough to handle what you're promising out. Okay? And so work on that. Get yourself multiple platforms, get yourself Cash App, get yourself this. Now, some of these things might cost you a little bit more money going forward, as we saw, to transfer, to swap, to do all these things, but that's okay. But when you're giving an expectation to somebody and then you're having to go back to them with a disappointment, that is no way for anybody to start a business or to start a daunting business in the cryptocurrency space. So you want to be real careful of that, okay? And then this next thing is one that nobody wants to hear, but I had to share it with a friend last night, that you have to go through the waiting phase. You have to go through that. Okay, so let's say I'll just pick on Doug a little bit. Let's say Doug just opened up a crypto.com account, or just opened up a Coinbase account or a Kraken account. Give yourself the learning patience to know that you're going to have to go through a waiting period, most likely. Why don't we just all know, when we set somebody up a new account in the crypto space, that most likely their crypto is going to be held the first 1 or 2 times that they start to send crypto. And even the sites say, after we do this hold, you will then be released to be able to buy, send, and sell all of the time. So, or easier and better. And then they will increase your limits as well. So, I was talking to a good friend last night who's doing an incredible job, and she's incredibly enthusiastic. But I said, you have to go through it sometime. You have to let the 7-day hold of Coinbase happen, so that then you can get in the game with us. If you don't let it happen, so does that mean a couple deals might be held up a week? Yeah, it does mean that, because you can't go through the 7-day hold without trying to send crypto, right? Okay, so you have to go through it. You have to have the patience to go through it. Okay, so really, really important. Remember, the more 2 factors, the more ID, KYC verifications that you do, the better off that you'll be. Ask advice. And if you're sending and doing crypto deals for the first time, please don't do them alone. Please get somebody looking over your shoulder. If we have to, guys, if you don't know it yet, I don't sleep much, but I was putting in deals at 4 a.m. this morning because the internet was down at about 9:30 last night. But my favorite time to work and to help people is 8:30 to midnight. Okay, just telling you, if you want a little couple tricks for me, or right after this call or right before this call. Okay, so those are my favorite times to be doing the extras, so I can look over your shoulder, help you put in a deal. So can other leaders and your sponsor first. So that's the other thing I want to talk about with crypto, and then we're going to go to the subject at hand. Crypto sells and buying from each other. You should try your best to keep that in your lineage, okay? So if somebody underneath Corey sells me all their crypto, instead of selling it to Corey doesn't have it to use to put people in, okay? Now, me and Corey are in a direct lineage together, okay? Direct lineage. So we still affect each other. But I would rather you sell it to your sponsor or going up that scale before selling it to me. Now, if you're in a spot and you want to cash out, now if I find out that people are cashing out USDC and then coming to me for crypto, those 2 things aren't going to match up very well. I might say something about that to you. So if you have to cash out, though, sometimes that happens. It's not a problem. Me and Andrea can tell you, at the beginning, she was cashing her crypto out to me to pay bills, okay? Now she only cashes out to me if she has any left over after putting people in, which is never, okay? But her people should be selling to her if they can, okay? Or number 1 is using your own crypto to be, especially on your commissions, to be putting your next people in. Okay. So just remember, try to stay in your lineages a little bit. I'll just say it this way. Let's say that you're in Angie's business. I saw Angie jumping on here, and Angie's people are coming to me to sell me their crypto. I just cheated another Texit Ranger that's an awesome Texit Ranger and has a cute car now too. But I don't have to. I don't have to. She would never want me to do that. Okay. She would never want me to buy her people's crypto. Okay. She would want that availability for herself and her team. And so just remember, there is something about lineage. There is something about going to your own lineage for advice, going to your own lineage for crypto purchasing, and all of that. Okay, now, are you ready? Let's get into it. That's all the crypto section for this morning. And we'll try to, any leaders, if you have any things to add, there was Angie, so she agreed with me. So we're just trying to every day get crypto nuggets. But today I wanted to do how I got to making the money that I'm making. I'll just go through that real quick. I made 6,000 in my first 6 hours of sharing. Okay, I mean 4,000 in my first 6 hours of sharing. I was maxing out the comp plan after my third week of 3 pay centers, and pretty much have kept to maxing out at least 3 pay centers a week. So that's 9,000 a week, almost since after the first month of being in the business. I knew about double dipping and building a binary prior to this, and I want to give you some of those nuggets. Now, things that I taught back then are different than things that I teach now. Okay, I accumulated a whole lot of extra hash by building it the way that I build it. I also am double dipping and triple dipping in many situations on the same points affecting my business. So the best way I know how to share this and show this is to share screen and to get over here to my comp my lineages, and I'm going to cover this in 2 ways. So first, I'm going to cover a brand new person getting in type of situation. Then I'm going to go to my main pay center, and I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to also do a little bit of inspiring, not to talk about me or to show about me, but I want to show you how you can actually see that from week 1 to week 82 or whatever it is now, that I really have made that 3,000. I want to show you how I've made that into 9,000 a week, and how now it's getting closer to, with Supernova and everything else, it's over 15,000 a week. Okay, am I telling you the numbers because, oh, look at Chubby Tom over there? No, I'm telling you the numbers because you can and should be inspired to make that for your family on a very, very part-time basis. Okay, as we go here. So, okay, so I am on. That is not the one I wanted. Here's the one. Okay, so I just recently opened up a pay center for my trust. Okay, because this can affect many other family members than just my immediate family. See, my kids already have a 9 pack of hash. They already are making money. And so now I wanted to do something different and go into a trust. So this is the Dubois family living trust. Okay, and that is what this pay center is. So I want to go to my placement tree real quick here, and I want to just and it kicked to my other business. Okay, let me log out of one and stay in the other. Give me 1 second here. People seem to be getting kicked out. So let me log in to this one because I was trying to have two open at once, and it's not going to let me. Um, Okay, I'll count on you guys to keep letting people in, okay? Please. Okay. Dubois Family Living Trust. And I always forget the caption. Jeez, I don't know who else does that, man. I always forget it. Okay, so now I only have one site open, so I can play with this, and then we'll log out and we'll log into my other site on the last part of the training. Okay, so Dubois Family Living Trust is a 9-pack, but I first want to start off as and as you can see, it's a new position. Okay, the only person under there is my nephew. Okay, and so this is a brand new position, just like you just signed up today. Okay. And then we're going to talk about the double dipping part of it on the O1 and O2 because it is a 9-pack. But let's start right here. Okay. And let's say that this was, I came in let's say that Dubois F up top there came in at just $1,000, and we came in at just 1 pack. You know, Bobby said in my hotel room in Las Vegas, what would you do if you're just beginning and whatnot? He said, I'd buy a 1-pack and I'd earn the rest. That's exactly his words. I'd buy a 1-pack and earn the rest. What greatness, you know, where most somebody would say, go dip into your savings and buy a 9-pack. Well, there is some truth to that one too. But here, if I am starting off with the top position here, and I don't have the extra 2 pay centers, my advice to anybody is it would be to for one, I always ask a series of questions. I want to know if the person that I'm putting in is a builder. I want to know if the person sponsoring them is going to continue to build. So if I'm working with my downline and you know, I'm working with Melanie, who I know is a builder, I don't have to ask the questions over and over again. But let's say that Bob put in his very first person. I'm going to find out from him what his intentions are on building before I place this person. Because if he tells me that, yeah, I don't plan on building and I'm trying to do this passive, but my good friend Joe, I'd like to see reap the benefits. Well, then that placement is way different for me, okay? And and I think that I just changed my mind too on how I'm going to teach this because I need you to see the upline too. So give me 2 seconds to re-sign in to my main spot, and then we'll just scroll down to that one. Okay. Okay. Oh, geez. Captcha. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So I'm just going back to my placement, and then what I'm going to do is log into that spot from my main placement tree. Okay, and so here we are. Okay, now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to look and see which side is their upline. Okay, so their upline comes down, and I do this on all of you. When you send me deals, I do this on all of you. I look at your upline, I look at your points, and in sequence, I'm going to think about the sponsor who's putting the person in first. Then I'm going to think about the person that I'm putting in, and then I'm going to think about the rest of the team. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. Because the dog cannot wag the tail on placement. I don't let nobody tell me where to place them. Not ever. Okay. Nor should you. If you're sponsoring somebody, it's your business. You're inviting them into your business. You place them where you need points, and that's where you place them. Okay, so on this, I'm going to ask Dubois. I'm going to say, hey, are you going to build this business? And if he tells me yes, then the placement of his first sponsorship is going to be different. If he tells me no, it's going to be different. Okay. So let's say that Dubois said, so first I look up and I see that his upline is going to be working his left side. Okay. So his outside on his left side is where he might, and I want to say that very clearly, might get points and people from his left side. So his team might be help building. There's people out there saying that I'm going to build this side of your business for sure, for sure, for sure. And you never should have that expectation. The expectation should always be to the people you're putting in. You should never say, I'm going to build your business for you. You should never say, I'm going to build one side of your business for you. You should never, 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 never say that. Okay. If it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to them. Setting the right expectations is half a placement. So I now know that Dubois is going to possibly be fed by the upline there, and that's going to be on his left side. So if I ask my participant if they're going to build the business, the person I'm putting in, and I'm getting the why out of them, then here in this scenario, and if they say no, that they want to just do this passive and that's their plan, but they do have a couple friends and family members they're going to drop in, then I'm going to have a conversation with them about, do they want, if they're not going to place very many people in, do you want to place them where they might be helped by your upline? And if that's the case, if they're a no and want to be kind of passive, then I'm going to place them, because the upline might help the left. My first choice is going to be to place their person on their left side, and not place them on the right side, which is the inside, because that's never going to be touched by the upline. This side will not be built by your upline unless you're doing it differently than I teach. I want to be very clear that everybody teaches differently. I've been doing binaries for 25 years, and I've been a top leader in every binary that I've ever done. And on this one, I figured it out for me, for what's best for me, and you might not agree, and that's okay. Okay, so this isn't about that. It's about showing you how I did it and what I do every day when thinking about placement. Okay, so, and that changes. What I think about placement might totally change. Well, for one, we could pick where we put our O1 and O2 in the past. Now it's different, so things change. Okay, so if somebody's going to build the business, I'm not going to want, if they're not going to build the business and help the person that they're putting in, I'm going to suggest putting them on the team side. If they are going to build the business, and the person that they're putting, so if Dubois told me that he is going to build the business, and that he's excited and da 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 da, then I'm going to always suggest that they build their inside first instead of second. Okay, you see? So I'm going to have them put that person right here. I'm going to have them put that person in the first spot on the inside of their business. Now, some say, why is that? Okay, if I place a couple of if I'm going to build, and I know that I'm going to support both sides of my business, I'm going to start off building the side that I'm going to build alone. Okay, and that's my inside. So I'm going to start placing my people on the right side in this case, because the upline is on the left side. So I'm going to start building on the right side. Why is that? Because if my upline does drop, let's say that up above here, that Philip drops a 9 down under Dubois on the left side. He's going to do it on the left side. So now I'm thinking of my business first, then the people that I'm putting in, then the team. So Philip just dropped a 9 underneath the left side. Because I started building my right side, I get to match everything up with that other side. So I'm hoping that while I build out my right at the beginning of my business, that I will get a little bit of help from my upline on the left. Now, again, if it's to be, it's up to me. So secondly, saying that if I put 3 points over here on the right, and I don't have 3 points on the left, then I'm going to come back over here on my next ones and go ahead and even out the score so I can make my first 1,000. Okay? But I'm hoping that my right side gets built while I'm getting some help from the upline on the side that they're going to do it. So your upline will always build the outside of your legs, okay? The left of the left, the right of the right, the left of the left, the right of the right. I personally never build both sides of my people's business unless it's my family, okay? Now, me and my kids, I build my kids' business with them, okay? This is on single placement by itself. Everything's different when you get a 9 pack. Okay. So, understanding once again, if I start to build my inside of my business, which I'm building on my own, and by the way, if I'm placing a spouse, I'm also placing the spouse on the inside of the business. Why? Then we can build out the side that I'm building by myself together. Okay. So just yesterday gave that advice, and the husband and wife totally love that. So we put the husband in here. Now on the inside, the husband and the wife are both building here. Most people's common sense would go, well, I want my wife on the power side. There is no power side in this business. There is no power side. You need points where you need points to get 9 and 9 each week, period. Okay, there's a real golden rule here that makes it really, really easy. I place people where I need points. When somebody asks you to be placed where, in a certain spot or a special this or a special that, hey, I love that. And just like when you build your business, you're going to place people where you need points. I want to have the same respect that I'm going to place you where I need points. And where I need points is where I'm building. So it is the best spot for you as a new person. I want you to hear that. I'm placing you where I need points. Where I need points is where I am building because I'm the superstar of my business. He's the superstar of his business. But where I'm building, so that is the best spot for you. No power leg this, power leg that. Every one of my legs is a power leg because every one of them I'm going to build to 9 points every single week, period. Okay. And how many points do we need each week? 9. That's it. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. We don't need more than 9. So that is the mentality that I use. Now, as I'm building my business, now we start to talk about a tri-pack, and this changes the whole dynamic. So everybody's number one goal to maxing out in the comp plan is to get a 9-pack in their main position so that you have 2 extra pay centers like you're seeing here. This would be a beginner's 9-pack because that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what you're looking at. A brand new 9-pack, a builder's pack with an O1 on the left and an O1 on the right. Other leaders teach to stack your O1 and your O2 on that inside leg because they are counting on the upline building their business. Me and Carl Wilt teach differently. We teach to have choices and to max out 3 compound centers, starting with your lesser side. So if I am going to start to double dip in my point count and count both of my pay centers at the same time, the same concept applies for me. Okay, I am going to start on the inside. Okay, so in this case, that would be my O2. So my first placements would still go on the far right of the O2 right. Okay, and everything gets sponsored out of the main spot. I don't ever sponsor anything out of my O1 and O2. I sponsor it out of the main spot because they are tied together. But you don't want to confuse that and have things not count for you, especially in the way that contests have been ran lately and whatnot. Everything out of my main spot is a sponsor. So Dubois F, not Dubois FO1, not Dubois FO2, but Dubois F would be sponsoring every single placement. Okay. Now, I'm going to begin my build on the inside. Remember, on the left side is maybe possibly. So if I get my 9 points over here, okay, then maybe my upline has put points over here. Again, when I say that, I'm very serious about maybe. If it's to be, it's up to me. But if I build inside here, then I can always come back to here. But if I build this side first, then anything that's put down there by my upline, okay, anything that's put down there by my upline would possibly burn. And then I'm trying to play catch up over here. So that's why I always build the inside leg first for me, okay? My business, my inside gets built first. My personal sponsorships go on the inside of my business. I don't ever place anybody else's sponsorships on the inside of my business. Those will always go on one side of my business, on the outside, which on this case is the left side. Okay, so if I'm putting people in over here, I am hoping and counting on that possibly I'll get points over here. If not, once I get 3 points or above here, I'm going to come back to here and even it out every single week till they're working on autopilot. And my business is on autopilot right now because of all of you leaders, okay? It's not because of me, it's because of all of you leaders. But before it's on autopilot, I need to even out my business again. Very simple rule. I place people where I need points. I don't place people so that I have one family over here. I mean, just 2 days ago, we put 4 kids on 4 different legs for one of our ladies. Okay, and why? Because that's what made sense. For her to make the most money, for her to make money off of helping them get in, and then for them to be building, because she's going to build, and so all 4 legs are going to be built, right? And so she's going to build. Now, let's talk about double dipping just a little bit. Anything that I do here counts up to here. Anything that I do here, left or right, counts up to here. So the truth is, once I get to the point of deciding that, see, we were saying, hey, build out your main pay center until you're comfortable that's maxing out all the time. Well, that has changed for me. If you have the power of having 3 positions, and by the way, they don't want you to buy a $1,000 position and 2 other $1,000 positions. That is not what Bobby would like. The way that this plan works is that you build your main spot up to a 9-pack, and then you get 2 positions to then work. Okay. So, and when we started, we weren't told that. And I'll show you later that I don't have an O1 and O2. I have a Laura Dubois spot and a Barking Beauty's dog spa spot. I have a business spot and a wife spot. Why? Because we weren't taught about the business builder pack when we first started, and we got off to too fast of a start. So Bobby let us use those pay centers as our O1 and O2, and we tied those with our main spot. More information than you needed there, but understanding my advice to anybody if they are going to build a big business is to not wait to build all 4 teams out, okay, wherever you need them. Now, if I have upline helping me on this side, the first 2 spots that I'm going to be building is the inside 2 spots. So I'm going to try to get a 9 and 9 on this pay center every single time that I can. And that's if the upline has been placing points over here. Again, if not, then I'm going to be evening them out. So let me just use the example of the other night. All 4 kids came in at a 5 to get 6. So my advice to her was to put 5 here, 5 there, 5 here, 5 there. Or a kid here, a kid there, a kid here, and a kid there. And she did that. So what did she make? She made 1,000 here, 1,000 here, and 1,000 up here, and has started all 4 pay centers. Now, you might think that she could have just done 2 5s on the outside and made 3,000 up top. Well, she did still make 3,000 up top. So she made 3,000 here, 1,000 here, and 1,000 here. Okay, so instead of just making 3,000 by only building the outsides, she made $5,000. So she had a 5 here, a 5 here, a 5 here, and a 5 here. She had a 3 and 3. left over with 2 and 2 points after this week. She'll make 1,000 off of this center, 1,000 off of this center, and 3,000 up here. Now I'm going to talk about the psychological value of that. Now, every time that she looks at her business or her upline looks at her business, they see that there's options and they are thinking about the points counting for all three positions, for all the positions, all the time. So they're concentrating on building this pay center out, concentrating on building this pay center out, not worrying about this pay center. See, the normal mind would want to worry about building this pay center out. But guess what? If I'm building this one and this one, I don't have to worry about the top center. No more. So psychologically, I'm looking at my business going, I'm building four pay centers out, and that's going to pay me the most. And by paying me the most, meaning that once this is getting 9 and 9, this is getting 99, and this is getting 9 and 9, that's $9,000 a week. And why not start that build from first? Why? Every point that you put in here counts for here anyway. So if you're just building your top pay center, follow me here. The same points to get 3,000 you could have got 9,000 out of. The same exact points, okay? The use of the same points count for 3 pay centers at the same time as counting for 1. So I'm concentrating on building my O1 left and my O2 right, and then I'm not even concerned about the top center because it's always going to hit. Now, does that mean when I come down here to figure out where to place people that I'm not going to look up here and see, oh, there's a 9 here and there's a 1 here or something like that, and then go, okay, well, I got to build the right side, okay? Now, I am always going to start double dipping on my inside, okay? So if I'm not getting help from above, my right side will always help me with that double dip first, okay? So I'm always going to build this out to a 9 and 9 first, and people keep dropping off. I hope that everybody's okay there. But everybody, so I'm going to always build the inside on the double dip first. Then I'm going to come back and now I have choices. Then I'm going to come back when I need the points, again, where I need the points on the other side, okay? But my first double dip should always start in the weaker side of my business. Now, most people's inside of their business becomes the stronger side, okay? Most. Why? Because everybody in this industry has the same thoughts. Well, I'm just going to place one over there underneath the side that the team's building because da 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 da. Well, here you don't even have to do that. Okay, so I've never had to place anybody on the other side of my business if I didn't want to, but I do want to. So I am double dipping on both sides. I hope that this part of this made sense. That if now what I'm going to do is show you on my main spot. So let me reset this. And by the way, every time I come to placement page, I reset it. Why? So that I know that the maximum points are showing and I know that I'm there. So now I'm going to try to use the same example. Oh, geez, what just happened? Okay, I'm going to try to use the same example. Let me get this up just a little bit here. I'm going to use the same example on here. So as you can see here, my O1 and O2 are not underneath my main center. I don't want to confuse anybody on this. If you buy a builder's pack, it will be on your main center. So as you can see on my main center, I don't ever have to worry about it. It's got 153 and 297 points. Well, some people ask me about the points. None of that matters but 9 and 9, does it? It matters because it's longevity of my business. The more points I burn, the more people are building my business. So it is job security to burn a ton of points, okay? So this will end up 500 and 500 before the week's out, okay? Right now, we have 300 and 153. So what do I need to get that to pay me 3,000? 9 and 9, Okay. So so when that clears out, all of those points go away. Okay. Now on my secondary pay centers, there's Sarah, there's my daughter, there's Shar, there's Shar's secondary position. There is so I decided, with me and Carl talked about it and said, well, let's put a few people in, then let's put our secondary centers in. Well, we maxed out the original pay center so quickly that we then shortly thereafter wanted to get our main centers in. And so as you can see, Barking Beauties is my secondary center. So that would be considered my O2, okay, or no, my O1. Okay, and as you can see, it's already got 104 and 19. Okay, every, if this was just a 5 and a 5, what would I have up top? 10. So that's all that I really need. But I am making 3,000 up there. I'm making 3,000 here. Okay. And then I'm making 3,000 on the other side, which is under Marie. I saw Marie on here. She got in right away. Under my best bud Jerry, under my sister-in-law, and there is my wife. Okay, so these three pay centers are tied together in my main pay center, and as you can see here, I need points on my inside of this pay center. So I have about 35 more points coming in on this side, but I need 6 more points or 7 more points on my left side. So this is the only place that I am placing people for the rest of this week until this becomes 9. So I don't have to place over there. Where do I place people? Where I need points. Now, if I'm concentrating on my O1 and O2, I don't have to spend my mind space on my top center, because I know that if I max this out, I'm maxing out up top. And I know it's different for me because we're way into this. We're 8 months into this, but I want you to bring it down to the level that you're not maxing out everything. But so if you're building your O1 and your O2, instead of building your main pay center, you are always building your main pay center. You are always letting the same points count for you twice, or in some cases, maybe 3 times. Okay. So matter of fact, where do you think that pay center is that I just showed you guys earlier? Well, on the inside of where I need points, correct? Okay, so let's just go down here. Here's all my buddies from El Salvador. There's Philip. Looky there. On the inside of where I need points is where I placed the trust. Okay, so this is where I need most of my building efforts to be right now. And so everything that I put in here will count up towards to max out that pay center. And of course, if you look above this, I have many people building out big teams of business. So I have people building everywhere that we look. Okay, as we can see, there's all sorts of people building. But if that's where I need points right now, then I'm double counting my points every time I put them in while I'm trying to build out my O2 pay center on the left side. That's where I need points. That's where everything will get placed from this point forward. So we already know that I made 3,000 on the left side. We already know that I made 3,000 on the top. If I want to make 3,000 here, I'm going to do this here. And I'm going to also make a suggestion. Because we're getting sufficient in the crypto space, I believe some of you should take all USDC until your build is done. I'm not done. You're never going to be done, meaning until you've built a little further. And why? Because you need to use USDC to put more people in. Okay, so that's one strategy. One strategy is taking hash so that you build up your hash at the beginning, then start taking USDC. So there's all sorts of strategies that can go on here. I'm going to tell you exactly what my strategy is. On this position, I take hash every single time. So last week I made 600 hash because this will max out this week, trust me. Okay, so all of them will max out all 3 positions. Plus, I'm now going to try, I am building a position with my kids and they are that position. I split with them so that my kids love it because I build it out, and they get 1,500 and I get 1,500 on a max out, right? Okay, so that's every single week. Okay, now I'm also suggesting to as many people as possible to take hash so that I can get the supernova bonus. Okay, now once I am double dipping here, my next 7 points need to go on Laura's left side, period. So that would be considered your O2 if you have a 9 pack. If not, you're just putting people on your right or your left if you only have one pay center at this point. Okay. So I hope I'm not confusing, but if I am, come back and watch it again and look at it again or ask questions at the end here in just a minute. So that's that. Okay. Um, so let me go ahead and show you just a couple of things real quick, just to get into this and just to, give you guys some proof of the pudding on a few things here, just to show, so we've been in 38 weeks, okay? And so if we went all the way back to the 38 weeks, you'll see that every single week that we made $3,000 every single week going all the way back to 37. Okay. So let's go ahead and raise that a little bit. So every single week. Now we started the supernova bonus about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. And every single week I get the supernova. So what is supernova bonus? Supernova bonus is when they close out on Saturday night at the end of the night, and you have people underneath you that are taking for their commission pay hash. And I'll do a whole nother training on this sometime. But they're taking hash. Every time that somebody takes $1,000 worth of hash for their commission pay, it cycles a point into the upline. So if you get a 9 and 9 before the week starts with supernova hash pay or points, and you get a 9 and 9, then Bobby awards you. So if your people are all taking hash and they all made commissions this week, and you got 9 points from those hash power, the hash that they're taking, and you got 9 points on each side of your business, when you start the week, you get an extra $3,000 bonus for that next week. So I'm getting supernova bonus on one and every time on this position, and many times so far on a second on Barking Beauties, the position on the left side. So that being the case, that's an extra 6,000 a week, or if it was just this position, an extra 3,000 a week. So we know that I'm getting 9 and 9 on 3 positions. We know that I'm getting 3,000 on this. Okay, so what is that now? That's $12,000. We know that I'm splitting my kids' spot with them. That's another 1,500 for me because I don't count their money. I count mine. Okay, and so we're now looking at 12, 13,500, correct? And then if I get another super bonus, then that's 16,500 a week. Well, I am considering, like other leaders, what is the next move if I'm maxing out all spots? Well, the next move is helping a family member or making sure that I'm maxing out, but putting a spot down underneath my entire team. So let me just go back to that real quick. Let me go real quick back to that. Member over here. Okay, member over here that let's just do this. Okay. Oops. That didn't work too good. Okay, I want you to understand what I did over here and why. Okay, so when I put the family trust in, okay, which is a joint conglomerate thing, when I put the family trust in, where did I put it? I didn't put it right up here. I didn't put it, I didn't open up an O1 or an O2. I put it at the very bottom of my business. Why? Because my hope's on this team that needs the more help than other teams that I am building from the bottom up. Okay. Now, as you can see, all of these people have 9 points on one side already, but I am inspiring them each week by doing 9 points a week by building on the bottom. So my next build will start from the very bottom of where I need points. Again, golden rule, where I need points. Okay. And then we can go into orders over here, and we can also see how many 1-2 frees Mr. Dubois has gotten. Okay. So 1-2 free, 1-2 free, 1-2 free, 1-2 free, 1-2 free, lots of them. And then sometimes I took BOGO, right? So sometimes I took my BOGO and got paid in got paid in got paid my commission in hash, and then I got 600 hash here. Okay, but you can see that the more 1-2 frees you have, it adds 200 to you if you do that within a month's time. Okay, so and then the clock resets each time you do a 1-2 free and get 200 hash, and the clock resets to do that again. So I just wanted to show you some proof in the pudding of the money that's being made. I wanted to show you the potential of how I've made the money. I wanted to show you that getting up to a 9-pack is imperative to build a double dipping business that you're making 6 and 9,000 instead of 3,000. The same efforts to make 9,000 as it is to make 3,000. The same efforts to make 6,000 on a side. So let's say we just talked about one side. The same efforts to build one side of my business, the same efforts to build out Barking Beauties to get to a 9 and 9. The same exact efforts count for up top. So building this out or just building this out, I would only get 3,000 if I was only building one spot. If I'm building two spots for the same points going in, I'm making 6,000 instead of 3,000. So that would really be the proper way to say that. So let me stop share real quick here, and let me see if there's any questions, additions, clarifications. I know I went through that kind of fast, and I know I teach it differently, but I can teach it to you in particularly on your, here's the best way, is when you're placing somebody, let me teach you where and why I'm putting it where I would suggest putting it. Now you could totally say, no, Tom, I on this case I need to put it with this person over here. That's up to you. I'm telling you how I build and what I do to build it. Angie, anything to add or take away or question?
Yes, thank you so much for that, Thomas. I appreciate your transparency, and I followed everything you said because I do the same exact thing. So
That's music to my ears, because I often worry that other rangers are teaching a little bit differently, and people always think the grass is greener somewhere else. Well, my sun's shining and my grass is growing. That's all I know, right?
absolutely. And, haters are going to be haters, but I will tell you that, when you share the wealth and you share it coming from the heart and you're transparent because you're here to help other people, then everybody wins. Because, look at this as when I see a leader who's having success, I'm going to hold on to their shirt tail to take me to the top. Okay. And that's what's happened. And so I max out at 5 positions per week. And I will tell you, if you have a family, a spouse, or an LLC, utilize it and put those positions in because you can max those out. And it's been just such a blessing. And you're so right, because that work is going to go right through all of those positions. And 3 months ago, I put my husband in, and I put him in on a power leg because I knew I only had to build the right side. And sometimes he maxes out before I do. But
Right.
it's a win-win, and it's just such a blessing. So you've motivated me, and for those of people on my team who didn't get a chance to see it early this morning, I'm going to be going through this tonight, this evening. So thank you again for sharing, Thomas. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, guys, I do love getting that confirmation. So you also see what she was talking about of when I put in the Dubois Family Trust. That's exactly what I did. But for me, now, if everything's going good with everything else, I'm gonna put, a spouse or something maybe on the power leg, but if I'm trying to build up a leg, I'm gonna put something at the bottom of that leg and let that build all the way up, because that's the double dip. The double dip is where I need points. My build is building all of that back up to be self-sufficient. When that's self-sufficient, it can't be self-sufficient if everything's on the power leg. Okay.
Right.
So what she said is, because she already has 5 that she's maxing out, guys. So what she's telling you is, now I get to pick and choose where I put people. Am I right, Angie?
Yes, yes.
Yes. But when you were beginning to build, you were building out and trying to double dip on your lesser side. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And not always is that taught right, right? But Angie made that clear that, hey, I'm maxing out 5, and boy, I inspired to do that. Well, we know that, I believe that there's other leader, that one of the top leaders is maxing out 12. Okay. I mean, you do the math, 12 times 3, folks. And guess what? He probably supernovas 3 or 4 of those, if not more. Angie, I'm curious, how many supernovas?
I've had 4 so far, and it hasn't been consistent every week. And actually, that's a really good point because, I'm currently at about 133 miners now because I take hash power, and so does my husband. And so I want to tell everybody that it's the quickest way to get as many miners as you possibly can. So, which also helps us go supernova, but I'm not saying it for the sake of helping me go supernova. I'm saying it for the sake of you getting more miners for free when you take it in hash power. If you got to pay your bills, by all means, take it in cash. But if you can take it in hash power. That would always be my first choice.
Yes, yes. And Angie, on the notion of, if I went to your team and they were selling me their USDC, would that upset you?
If they were selling,
Me, their
oh,
USDC.
yeah. And we know why.
Yes, yes.
You
See,
know,
because she wants to use it to build her business. You
yes.
see? All right.
Or at least give me a call. We can talk.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, do you
Obviously, we're
have
here to
any
help
need
each
for
other.
this? This gentleman offered me and wanted to cash out, but I personally would send them back to you immediately. We had on the Ranger call, and any Rangers that are on here, it was pretty cool when somebody was asking to switch teams. Every Ranger said, no, I'm gonna tell those people to go work out their differences, because switching teams and getting a spot underneath somebody else, thinking the grass is greener somewhere else, is just bad business in a
Right.
build like this. It's just bad business. And it was cool. Wasn't it cool at the end of that call to see everybody agreeing to that on the Rangers? It was
Yes.
like, I would never take somebody else's people.
Yes.
I just wouldn't do it. There would have to be some real specific reasons, or whatnot. And I say that in a way of, not if they left a business and then came into a business with somebody else or something. That there is circumstances like that. But in a normal situation, people think the grass is greener somebody else. Where else? Well, if it's to be, it's up to me. We don't ever have to worry about that, do we?
Exactly.
Any other questions? And Angie, you're welcome to hang on and answer any and whatnot with me if you'd like, and any other ranger as well. Any
Thomas,
questions?
the only thing I would have to add to that
Hi, Sarah.
is placement under your profile. And, because so many people go, well, I wanted them on my right, but your placement is set for left. So I always personally leave mine at manual so I have total
Yes.
control over it.
Yes. Yes. Now, the only time that I would say differently, if somebody hasn't built for a while, Sarah, and let's say that my daughter, that's a great example. I could even show that's not the spot that I'm building with, is my daughter. I'm building it with my children, the full children's spot. Okay, so it's in a different positioning. Okay, it's actually under Miguel, and we're rocking and rolling underneath him. Anyways, a lot of transparency going on this call. So if JDM wanted to start building or whatever, or she was handing out her QR code or whatnot, because she's not really building, and that, she's right under you, Sarah. So her whole business is taken care of by you guys, by you, Andrea and Shar, and all you rock stars. And so she doesn't have to build the left side. So I would have her toggle to the right. Does that make sense, Sarah?
Yeah, could you, what about putting on balance for people who start or just started?
I've never used balance. I don't know if that works correctly. That one worries me, because if they say balance, I get scared that the computer isn't going to do it right, you know. But you are correct, 100%, Sarah. Balance or whatever side they want them. If that's more of it doesn't matter. I know that for instance, for me, if there was a way for me to do the Laura spot totally on the left, I'm only going to build her left, no matter what. Nothing else is going on that spot but on the left. I could actually toggle that to the left, or balance, like you say. If I know specifically, though, I would go ahead and be safer and toggle it to the left. But I do exactly what you do, Sarah, on all of my spots. And I do have it on manual because I'm going to go in and manually place it all the time. Go ahead, Angie.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that I like to try to explain to people as they get signed up, because, when we're putting people in our back office, we have that option to set up their default to hash power or USDC. And so if you can do it from the very beginning, it saves a lot of time. And that way they don't have to worry about replying to that email, in a sense, when they get their commission, because they already know that their settings are set for hash power.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
that does save a lot of time. But you also want to check that if for some reason you want to be changing it, because perhaps you want a USDC that week. I check it every Saturday on every position, just in case, I want USDC on these three positions, and I want hash on these two, so I can move them around. Or you could even take TXC. But you always want to check those settings every week if you are going to be changing them. Otherwise, I would set them to hash as you sign up as your default.
Yes. And that has been the majority rule so far. Because now everybody knows when you sign a new person up, you have to choose hash. That's one of your questions now. Just like you ask them for their address, you ask them for, do you want hash, TXC, or USDC? Or I like to say cash. By the way, and so like Bud just posted that if anybody, it's payday, if anybody wants to sell their USDC, to go to him. If you're in his lineage, go to him. If you're in my lineage, go to me. If you're in Sarah's lineage, go to Sarah. If you're in Corey's lineage, go to Corey. Candace to Corey. Okay, so let's just not get confused there, because we all need it. Now that it's only crypto in and crypto out, we all need it. Keep it within your team, folks. Very important. Mary, go ahead. You should be able to unmute, my dear.
Okay. So a little bit of ADHD overload, I'll be honest with you.
Sure.
Not anybody's fault but my own. That's just my brain. So I'll have a trillion questions, but I don't want to do them right now. When you do the left and the right, you know how you have how does it carry over? Like if you have 2 left and 35 right, when does something drop off? I don't know.
The 2 will always stay there until you get 3. Okay. So the 2 will always stay there, and you're right. And so let's say that was your left side. And I think in your case, that would be 2. And then on your right side, if it has 36, at the end of the second week, it will go back to 9. If you're not using those points to get paid on, it will default back to 9, because you don't need the extra 35 or whatever, right? So
Okay.
that's every 2 weeks that it will default back to 9. So as you saw when I was going down to the trust, a lot of people with 9 points. Well, they've had a lot more than 9 points go up through them, but now it's 2 weeks after, and now it's defaulted back because they haven't been paid on the 9. It leaves them at 9 on that side, so that they get paid on 9 every single time. You'll never lose out getting paid on the 9 points every single week, no matter what. It looks weird and it seems weird at first to go, hey, well, I had 15 and 6. Okay, I had 15 and 6, and then that only leaves me with 3 on this side and 0 on this side because you got paid a 6 and a 6. A 6 and a 6 paid you 2,000, and now because that 9 you used up 6 of the points, the following week after getting paid on that, you will start with 3 points.
Okay.
And we can show you that on your genealogy with a separate Zoom. That is the beauty of having great upline, and any leader that can explain that better than me, get on here.
You did a very good job. It's just the way my brain works.
No, and showing it at the same time is a lot easier. And we did this at the very beginning, but we can always do it again. Let me just show you real quickly on that. Just so let's just look at one here, okay? So there'll be a good example somewhere. Let's see. That's a good example. Okay. Well, you see that 104 on Bill, okay? When at the end of this week, that 104 will go away, and that will just end up being 9 points. But Bill will max out over here for sure. And so if this was here, not a good, I'm trying to find a good example here. Let me see here. Okay, at the end of this week, this will go to 9 and this will stay at 1. Okay, right? Because you only need 9 points there. People's either maxed out or they have it. I'm trying to find a good example for you to show you. And if I don't, we'll come back on it. Here's a great example. Okay, so this is 5 and 97. Okay, so Queen Bee is going to be paid if this was Saturday at 7 o'clock Central Time, she would get paid $3,000, right? Because she got a 3 and a 3. Do you follow that, Marie?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So what is she going to be left with?
2 and 84.
Good shot. 2 and 6. Because you count anything over 9 as 9. Okay. So pretend that 87 is a 9 and that is a 5. So we're going to do a 3 and 3. She's going to get $1,000. Then this is going to drop down. We're going to minus 3 off of that side. That's 2. Going to minus 3 off of this side, which is 9. Okay, right?
Okay.
Not 87. Okay, and then she's going to end up with 6 and 2. So the truth is, if she added 1 point here, then she would max out a 6 and a 6. And be left with 3 points. Okay. So her goal would be to at least get 1 more point for another 1,000 this week instead of carrying over points. Anytime you carry over points, you just wasted a week's pay.
Okay.
I hope that helped.
Yes. I'll probably have more questions down the road, but
me and you and Deb and whatever can do a one-on-one and we can include others. We're doing this 4 days a week, guys. We're doing crypto training 4 days a week. We're not doing placement training 4 days a week. And we're not doing building the business 4 days a week. We are concentrating on self-sufficiency in crypto. That is our main focus of all 4 mornings. Okay.
And this has been very helpful to me. Thank you.
And Angie, if you have ways that you're buying your crypto that you can teach on here, volunteer. I'd love to have you like Thursday or Friday of this week. If so, let me know.
Absolutely. I actually have found something that is very, very simple, and it's purchasing it through MoonPay, and I'd be happy to share that.
What about tomorrow?
What's tomorrow's Thursday? In the morning, same time?
Same time.
Yeah, we can do that.
Guys, you ready to learn about MoonPay tomorrow? Give her some hearts. Okay, you're on.
Sunshine over morning.
And invite as many of your team as you want. We got the full scale thing here. And we're doing this until people get self-sufficient. Angie, what our goal will be, in a couple of weeks to have people ask us where they're stuck. You know, like I
Love
did this
it.
on Coinbase. I'm stuck here. And each morning for him to come on and us to be able to help people, you know, and just start the day off getting people. If we get people self-sufficient through crypto, then none of us leaders will go through what we went through. Because while you guys were in Thailand, it was a tough road as far as buying enough crypto and all of that. It was crazy. So and you guys know that from being in Thailand, right? So because that's when we went from over that 10 million mark and all that. So are you sure you're okay with that tomorrow, Angie?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, guys, you heard it from the Gipper. Any more questions?
Hey, Thomas, it's Miguel.
Hey, buddy.
I see the advantages of encouraging our team to be on hash power. However, even though we're getting, what are we getting? 0.6 or 0.8 per day per coin.
Yep.
From their perspective, and I've had someone tell me this, from their perspective, they're saying, well, gosh, it makes more sense for me to take USDC than hash because of the lesser amount we're getting on the coin per day.
Well, it's 600 hash, so that would be let's call it $30 a day. $30
For the
a
rest of
day
your life.
for the rest of your life.
Right.
And as the coin goes up,
And as the coin goes up.
Right. Well, that's what I said. I said, well, the coin is continuing to rise in value. But that was kind of a complaint from someone. They said, well, why? I mean, I'm getting less if I take hash, so I'm just going to take USDC.
Right.
I think you got to have the long-term mindset in place for that to be a very powerful thing. They're thinking right now, and I've had this conversation before. I say, imagine when the coin is at $1,000 a coin, you're earning, roughly, we'll call it $600 a day from those 600 hash power when the coin hits that $1,000. So you're, you got to be in the right mindset of long term. If you need the money now, then you need the money now. But that's what we do as leaders, is show them this is the long play. This is the generational wealth. So where's your head at?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can change it every single week, guys. So there might be some plays like right now. I'm considering taking TXC on all spots. Why? Because I got to help people with crypto. So if I buy TXC this week, and by the end of the week I have to pay an invoice with my TXC, it's grown, and I might start circulating it that way. There is a leader that does that and makes a ton of money doing it. So there's options there. But I want to do the math for you real quick, Miguel, on just a year. I said 30. Let's just bring it to 25. 25 times 365 is $9,000. So in a year, if we didn't change our pricing or anything, and we are only making $25 on 600 hash, which we know that we're making less hash right now, that will inch up a little bit, but then it will continue to go down with difficulty. We understand that. Okay, but $9,000 to $3,000 just on 1 year. So that's the thing. But I do want to be crystal clear. While people are figuring out how to buy crypto and not knowing how to buy crypto and maybe being stuck for 7 days on a Coinbase or something like that, while they fight through that, they should be taking USDC if they're building. Period. If you're building, you should be taking USDC so that you can help pay your own people in. Okay.
Yep.
But only temporarily, because also if we duplicate taking USDC, then those people will never get that 3,000 supernova bonus. So if I'm making 3,000 extra a week because my team's taking hash, that's the duplication that I'd like to see you making. I'd like to see, if your people are taking hash, I'd like to see you getting supernova and making 3,000 a week. Corey's exercising and keeps popping out. So he's doing his walk and he keeps popping out. I love that. So good job, Corey, because I need to go do that. Okay, Angie, go ahead and add in, please.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also wanted to add that, yes, you're right that the miners are producing a lot less currently, but you can also go in your back office, or even on any of the 7 exchanges that are we're on not now, and purchase the coins. So, if you've got an extra couple $100 or $500, and buy the coins, and that way you've got a little bit of a heads, you're ahead of the game because you've purchased those coins, because those obviously, will eventually end up being just as much and more in value, come with time.
Right. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and guys, remember what we started with? A series of questions. A series of questions for Miguel. You and Lily Penn are different than Marie and Deb. Shar is different than Chris LaFrance. Chris LaFrance is different than Angie. Well, that's for sure. But no. Chris, that was a little dig on you, buddy. Sarah is different than me. Okay, so Sarah's advice might be a little bit different, than Corey's, than Ann's, than Rico's, type of thing. Because everybody's situation is a little bit different. So it's a series of questions on what that person needs and expects. If that person needs crypto, and because I'm not doing peer payments, guys, and I went backwards this week, and I've done 3 peer payments. Why? Because I bought a bunch of TXC that I'm going to use to pay my peer payments. Okay, so but on a normal basis, I'm not doing peer payments anymore. It's got to be an emergency on a Friday and Saturday. Why? Because I have other businesses that need my banks. I need my banks, and that's a period on that. I can't be buying the whole team's crypto. Now, what is the purpose of these calls? To spread the wealth of people buying their own cryptos, so that burden does not lay on 1 or 2 or 4 or 10 people's shoulders. That each person, number one, we help our people when they get in to buy their own crypto. How do we do that quickly? With the training that Miguel and Herschel did yesterday. Is Cash App, buy it, get their spot in for 1,000. They can upgrade later as they learn more crypto. Okay, idea. Okay, we have to do what we have to do at first, starting to build our crypto accounts. So first line of defense, or line of putting people in, is helping your people to buy their own crypto. Second is you buying the crypto for them, but not over-promising to them that you can do something that you can't do yet. Because if you haven't been doing it, say, hey, I'm going to try to do the buying for you, and there's a lot of try and a lot of learn statements inside of that. I might have a learning curve here, so it might not go in today. It might be a little bit later or something. We got to set the expectations for our people correctly. Then having the patience to go through that time. Thirdly is going to your upline and asking them if they have the ability to buy you crypto or to do a peer payment for you or to help you out. And peer payment should be, in my opinion now, for my organization, should only be used at emergencies. Meaning that this person is on their 29th day to do their upgrade. Can you please get them in an upgrade for them? I have no other way to do it, Tom. Can you please peer payment them, and I'll take on that burden with you. I will always, you guys know me, I always am a sucker to help my team no matter what. And so I'm going to be doing that. But I want, more than anything, I would be doing the best service ever. And everybody that's taught on here is helping. The best service ever is to get you self-sufficient on buying your own crypto. And that's the goal of this call. Okay? Anybody else? It's been a long one today, but I think very informative and very good. I love you all. Remember, going through your own is what's going to get you to understand what you need next. If you don't understand where you're putting your next person, then you're not really dreaming that, are you? You're not really saying that's where it is. Guys, I showed you 4 times where I need people today at least. Okay? Guess what's going to manifest itself from this training? I'm going to max that out and start building the family trust. That's exactly what's about to happen. So you got to be looking at your business and going, that's where I need points. That's where I need points. That's where I need points. And you got to start manifesting that. You are what you think about. And that's not just, in Think and Grow Rich, not just in As a Man Thinketh. That is in my Bible. Okay, you are what you think about. So think about where you need points. Love you. God bless you. Angie, thank you for your help. Everybody knows we're going to have Angie on here tomorrow teaching on moon pay and more. Okay, so we'll look forward to that. And there is a grandbaby saying, hello, everybody. Okay, everybody have an awesome day. I love you all.
Thanks, Thomas.